at Detroit. So Detroit, they're missing some pieces, of course. They got Dan Campbell as their head coach now, a former Dolphins coach right there. And I feel that Detroit should hit a wide receiver named Jamar Chase. Brand new episode, E on the Mic, episode 27. I'm your host, E, aka Ethan. I got a special guest once more today. He's appeared to my show 3 times, including the Hustler Group show as well on E on the Mic. He represents Florida. Introducing Doug Smith. What's going on?
What's going on, Ethan, man? Super happy to be back, man. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
Yeah, man. How you been, man? It's been since the Hustle Group episode, hasn't it?
Yeah, man. It's been a minute, man. Thank you so much for bringing me back, man. Dude, this draft, I'm pumped, man. It's like Christmas time for us, man. I'm excited, man.
You hear it all month. You hear it like since February. You've been hearing the mock draft saying, okay, this guy should go here, this guy go here. Miami, it went from Smith. If you remember from our Miami pick at number 3, we should get Devontae Smith, and then we traded down all over the place. But it looks like we're not done there for the Dolphins, which have been hearing rumors, trade rumors, all that.
And you know what? You know what, Ethan? It all started from a bong. It all started with Leremy Tunsil and that daggone bong, man. So celebrate 420, right?
420 be like 4 days ago when this recording. But hey, man, let's dive into the mock draft. We're gonna cover the top 10, see who will go which way we go on the top 10. So let's start off with the number 1 overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars. As everyone most likely will know, it will be Trevor Lawrence, unless it will be a huge shocker that Trevor Lawrence does not go number 1 in Clemson. I think this is a great move for Jacksonville. They definitely desperately need a quarterback after going 1-15 last season, only winning that one game, the first game, the regular season. And I think he could be great with Urban Meyer. It's going to be very interesting because Urban Meyer is our college head coach who had no experience in the NFL. But Trevor Lawrence could be the answer for the Jaguars. Although you've been hearing some rumors that saying he's not a team captain. He's like, the Super Bowl is not his highest moments in his career. He's like, are you satisfied? He could walk away from this, is what I've been hearing. So is this the right selection for the Jaguars? I think so. This is for the future wise, and they can build around Trevor Lawrence. As long as he's committed, they can go somewhere with Trevor Lawrence. Doug, Who do you got for the number 1 overall?
E, man, I'm right there with you, man. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, he's won the national championship, been to another one, ended up losing, unfortunately. The guy works, I mean, Clemson right now, Alabama right now, they're cranking out NFL players. Even guys who aren't regular starters, may only play 3 games, have a chance of making it to NFL. That's how big these schools are. And, you know, to take and see Trevor Lawrence on the field tearing it up. The guy's mobile. The dude is fast. I don't know what his 40 time is, but he's very fast, has a rocket of an arm, very accurate. You just be crazy. And don't get me wrong, Zach Wilson is a beast. He could easily go first too, but I'm just like you, man. Trevor Lawrence, that's somebody who I have. And then on top of that, Urban Meyer, he has history in coaching against Trevor Lawrence. So to take and have him on your team now, or at least have the opportunity to draft him, I think it'd be very, very, very stupid not to pick him up.
And it's gonna be very interesting once those two can join each other and see how they will play in the NFL. Because we've seen Urban Meyer be successful in college with Utah, Florida, Ohio State. Can he actually do it in the NFL and with Trevor Lawrence? Although his freshman year was great, but after that, it was starting to kind of slide a bit, especially, of course, they did lose to Ohio State this last game. So it's going to be very interesting how the Jaguars go with Trevor Lawrence and how they build around him, as I feel. But going to the next selection, the Jets is on the clock at number 2. And I just feel that they're going to stick with their guts. I don't think they're going to get Fields. I don't think they're going to get Trey Lance. I think they're just going to stay right there with Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson's gonna be a great weapon for them. They compare him as Patrick Mahomes wise with his throwing cannon and his mobility, getting out of the pocket, getting out of the pass rushers. And I feel Zach Wilson is the guy. Although there's been some experience, they probably throw shade of is like his experience, especially with Coastal Carolina game. He didn't do too well hot there when he saw prime time Zach Wilson. But I think it could be a good pick selection for the Jets, especially since they got rid of Sam Darnold. They definitely need desperate. But the question is, will Zach Wilson be the guy for the Jets to start week 1? But what do you feel, Doug, on your selection for number 2?
Absolutely. So with the Jets, there's so many holes. I mean, they're pretty much, I can't even say holes. They're a Grand Canyon.
Oh my goodness.
They're just they need everything. They need help. They need the Army. They need the Navy. They're just a really bad team. And you know, it's crazy because they have a few good defensive players. They got probably one of my favorite O linemen in last year's draft, Mekhi Becton. Thought the dude was a baller coming out of Louisville. But you need a quarterback. You send a clear message that, hey, Sam Darnold is not your guy. You know, it's just, and here's the thing, I don't even think Sam Darnold's garbage. I really don't. He just got a raw deal. I mean, when you're drafted that high and then all your other picks after that are, you know, receiver, you know, D line, you know, there needs to be O lineman. There needs to be a chain of order, you know, here. And, you know, Zach Wilson, I like yourself, and I'm pretty sure you and I are probably going to agree on the next pick even after this. But like Zach Wilson is who I have. He's a next best quarterback off the board. I saw a play from him and he was running. It was about a 15-yard run and he hurled over somebody and dropped his shoulder and then ran out of bounds. Ooh. Man, he's a cold-blooded person, man. I'm really excited. He has moxie. There's some stuff he could work on, but man, his throwing arm is. And you know what's crazy? Before all these pro days happened, all these mock drafts, all of them were saying Justin Fields at number 2. I don't know if you remember. A lot of these were saying.
I remember that.
But you know, and Justin Fields is dope. We'll get to him here in a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna have to take and say Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is gonna be my number 2.
I agree. Which I think that's the only issue I have for Zach Wilson is when he runs out of the pocket, you gotta learn the NFL to slide because it's eventually when you start trying to put your shoulder pad, they will want you to get out. They're fighting for their job, so you know how tough it will be. Mm-hmm. So that's the only issue I'll have for Zach Wilson. And again, getting the experience, especially he's gonna get thrown in there with the Jets with that type of offense they have currently right now. It's not gonna look pretty right now. Yeah. So I would have liked him to sit out had they kept Sam Darnold there, maybe give him some confidence, but I don't know how he's gonna go with the Jets. But I think it's still gonna be a great selection for the Jets overall, number 2. But going to number 3 now, so I like how you said this could be the same thing, but I may differ for this selection right here. So the 49ers, I feel that Trey Lance is, I think this is their guy. Hear me out, Doug, because you still got Jimmy G, right? You're going to have him for at least another year. I think you want to have Trey Lance in the bench for 1 year, kind of like how Patrick Mahomes did with Alex Smith with the Chiefs. And I just feel, although you may say, yes, Trey Lance had had too many experiences or he just played like Sam Houston State is not a team, but he watches film. He has a cannon of an arm. He has a quick mobility. In one film I saw, he would just, in 1.7 seconds, get the ball out. And he looked from one direction to the right, his first option, then the second option, and right there, boom, to the hook route. So I think this guy could be legitimate starter for the 49ers in the future and can go right back to the promised land for the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit different. I have Justin Fields. He also had a very good pro day. I'm looking at his mock drafts. I'm seeing the rumors. It's leaning towards Justin Fields, I believe, and I could be wrong because I struggle with that one. You know, I was like, could it be Trey Lance? You know, but Justin Fields, he's also very good. The guy has moxie, comes from a good home. He has a really great head on his shoulders, and his arm is so freaking good. And the show QB1, I believe it is, on Netflix. He started off in high school. He was on TV first. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, Justin Fields, man, I like him a lot, man. I think for San Francisco, he'd be he's different. He's very different from Jimmy Garoppolo. Very different, you know, and how they take and they play. But different is good, you know. I mean, last time they had a successful quarterback was Colin Kaepernick. Hands down. I mean, Jimmy G was successful for a little bit, but he had the injury, and then they overpaid him after 5 games. 5 games and you bankrupt your team. And we all, you know, it's over, you know, just overspending on players, you know, when you forget that there's a whole bunch of other positions that you need to take and fill. So, you know, with Jimmy G, not that it's necessarily his fault, but he didn't come through. You know, you paid for a guy who was not proven. He never won a Super Bowl. He came from the Patriots. He won you 5 games. He's 5-0 as a starter. And everybody was just there. They were ready to crown him the next great quarterback. And that didn't happen. I feel like they want something a little bit different. Justin Fields definitely provides that. So that's my pick, Justin Fields.
Okay, we agree to disagree. It's okay. But speaking of Fields, I do have a trade here on the selection 4. I actually have the Falcons trade with Denver for the Falcons going back to number 9 and Denver coming up to get Justin Fields this time. I feel Justin Fields can go to number 4 to Denver. I don't know if Denver really believes in Drew Lock right now, because they have the weapons. They're starting to get weapons there in Denver, and you saw how Drew Lock was struggling last season with those weapons. So I just feel, especially since John Elway is not the one that's selecting the drafts in this time, so I just feel that Justin Fields, although I don't really trust in Ohio State quarterbacks in the past few years, but I think this one's gonna be very different for Denver's situation. And could help them step up, especially when you have Patrick Mahomes in the division, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr. So you need some type of competition there as well at your quarterback to win you some games in that division. So, and that's what I got for number 4 for Denver, trading with the Falcons.
Love it. I love it, man. Yeah, I got a different pick. I got so this could be looked at a multitude of ways. Again, not as bad as with the Jets because they have better players in Atlanta than they do in New York. But with the Jets, Atlanta, they're notorious for blowing big leads. Ever since that Super Bowl loss, they have not been the same. They have not been the same team. You can't tell me no different. The best thing about those teams is Matt Ryan and also Julio Jones. It's the best things about that team. There's a few other good players. They gave away probably the best defensive player to the Cowboys. But I will take and say one thing that I do believe in, these leads are being blown is because of defense and defensive issues. But I believe the best offensive player on the board at this point is going to be Kyle Pitts. That opens up your offense so much. The guy can line up as a receiver. He can line up in the slot. He can line up where the tight end is. And he's not really that great of a blocker. But, man, the dude's jump ball is crazy, just like Julio Jones. I mean, can you imagine both of those dudes running a seam? I mean, it opens up your field so much. And with there still being, a lot of offensive players offensive linemen that you can draft later in the draft. Those are other needs. No need to really get Penei Sewell right now, even though it's so dang tempting. I have Pitts going to Atlanta.
Wow. I know a lot of Falcons fans would love to get Pitts. I just feel like they need to address the defense. Of course, remember, defense wins championships. Although you still have Matt Ryan for a year or two, but I would understand the pick because it brings all pressure of Julio and Calvin Ridley at the same time. Yeah. But I think I'm more focused on defensively, especially how like you mentioned, they kept blowing leads because from what they started, the defense. Remember the Cowboys game? They blew that lead heavily, and the Cowboys won the game from an onside kick. So that's why I feel that they should definitely address defense. But once again, the best player availability, of course. If no one gives you best trades offer, I'll agree with that. I'll definitely agree with Kyle Pitts for you right there.
So.
But number 5 now, the Bengals. I still say the Bengals are going to stay there. Now, this is a controversy. Should they get wide receiver, offensive line? I'm going to go with offensive line. Penei Sewell from Oregon. I think this is going to be great protection for Joe Burrow. Because remember, his season ended from an ACL torn. And his offensive line has been really struggling, especially look at the record last year for the Bengals, and you just tell me how they were last year. They were horrendous. Too much. It wasn't even time for Joe Burrow to give some time to throw away the ball or get it to the wide receiver connection wise. I just think they just need more protection to just protect Joe Burrow, honestly. I know they want wide receiver. I know they're looking at Jamar Chase, but I just feel they just need to stay right there. Just get an offensive line to protect Joe Burrow for his future-wise, especially since he's only 24, about to turn 25 this year. So I just want to protect Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's tough, man. This is a tough because, Joe Burrow threw a lot of touchdowns to Jamar Chase. So and please don't quote me on this. I know it was over 20 touchdowns he had to Jamar Chase. Over 20. Imagine that. And I gotta say, historically, Bengals have a very boring history. They had a Boomer Esiason in the early 90s, right? They had their run back then. Anthony Munoz, probably greatest Latino player in NFL history. Then you had the Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco back when they had him, TJ Hushman-Zeta, Rudy Johnson, some of them cats back in the day. And there's some decent teams. Then there's the Andy Dalton era. Not much to see. I think 2016, the year that he broke his pinky or finger or whatever right before the playoffs, and AJ McCarron lost the first game in the playoffs. They don't have a lot to, and I feel like this brings a lot of spice, a lot of juice, a lot of moxie to that team. So therefore, I have my pick being Jamar Chase. I do believe that they could still get really good quality in second round. There's gonna be guys like Cosme from Texas. There's gonna be Alex Leatherwood, Dickerson, the offensive lineman from Alabama. You got Jackson Carman from Clemson. These are guys that are gonna be in second, third round. So you can still get a super high quality guy. This draft is so deep in O-line. So that's why, and again, I could be wrong, because it wouldn't even be a bad. I think Penei Sewell is a great pick, but in this case, Jamar Chase, man. Plus, they have history. I gotta give it to him.
Wow, interesting. Now we go into our lovely Dolphins selection at number 6, Doug. So you had Kyle Pitts at number 4 with the Falcons. I'm gonna say Dolphins get Kyle Pitts. Like I said, best player available. Of course, in my mock draft here, best player available for Kyle Pitts. I know we have Mike Gesicki, as I mentioned before. We do have Mike Gesicki, but just imagine coming into the season 250, 6'6" or 6'7" at height, just rolling downfield. Yes, he has issues with blocking, but he can roll down that field, can lead pressure off with Devontae Parker, Gesicki, and then whichever wide receiver, Will Fuller, for example, and then Preston Williams, if he's still healthy, or Albert Wilson, if he's still there with the team at that point in time, leaves some pressure off for them, and can lead to scoring plays and helping Tua Tagovailoa exceed to the next level for next season. Mm-hmm. So I think Kyle Pitts is going to be definitely a great selection. I understand people when they say, why do we need a tight end? We already have Mike Gesicki, but he could be a tight end / wide receiver for Kyle Pitts at the same time, which people don't understand as well. So you can put him at either or, but I just feel that would be a great selection for Miami. The best available player right now, Kyle Pitts.
I love it, man. Honestly, man, I don't even disagree with you, bro. Now I did a mock draft, and for those who don't know, I selected Kyle Pitts as well too. But I've had a change of heart these past couple of days, and got an episode coming out this evening, Saturday night, on the Touchdown with Doug Smith. And I have had a change of heart. Not that I don't believe Kyle Pitts is not the best receiver, him and Chase, but then I got Devontae Smith, man. I got us getting Devontae Smith. He can run the slot. He's still fast. People are freaking out, but he's not even 6 foot. He's 166 pounds. What the heck, man? So there's been tons of receivers that were not like DK Metcalf. Tons of receivers. You know what I mean? So now 166, he's going to gain weight. I'm sure he'll gain another 10, 15 pounds. I'm not too really worried about it, but that's what gives him his edge. You know what I mean? And on top of that, just like with Cincinnati, they have Joe Burrow has history with Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and he's very, very close friends with Tua. Very close friend. These guys, there was a documentary on, it was like an E60 documentary kind of thing, or 30 for 30, one of those things on ESPN. And Devontae Smith used to go back to Tua state of Hawaii and go hang out with his family. This dude is a close knit family friend, and to have them together, man. They have chemistry. Chemistry is important, man. So if you could connect your number one receiver with your quarterback and bring them in the league together, that doesn't happen every day. I just see both Bengals and Miami taking and making that move still. So, but I do believe Pitts is better, but I will not be mad at all with Devontae Smith. Welcome to Miami.
I wouldn't matter be either with that. Earlier this offseason, I was ranting about Devontae Smith should be with Miami at number 3 overall. So I like I said, I wouldn't mind that pick either at number 6, but I just feel Kyle Pitts, if he's still there, definitely taking the best player. Although he did want a Heisman, but I think Kyle Pitts is definitely a better than Smith for me. But let's
Yes,
go down to number 7, Doug. We're going at Detroit. So Detroit, they're missing some pieces, of course. They got Dan Campbell as their head coach now, a former Dolphins coach right there. And I feel that Detroit should hit a wide receiver named Jamar Chase. I think they lost Marvin Jones in free agency. They just got Jared Goff, who Jared Goff has history getting connection with Cooper Kupp back in the Rams. Got Robert Woods getting connected. Had a tight end over there who was getting great connections there as well. And I just feel if you connect with Jared Goff, with Jamar Chase, especially how Jamar Chase has been with LSU, I think it will be a match in heaven for Detroit, and it can help their offense and at least improve better. Of course, they still need some issues there in the defensive side, like linebacker issues and stuff like that. I think the next wide receiver, especially since they lost Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay in free agency, definitely need a wide receiver, and you just need Jamar Chase in there.
I love it. Yeah, and people don't realize with we can't say it on YouTube, but the beer flu, the Rona, whatever you want to call it, that through, you got people opting out. So there's gonna be some people who we think are going in first round that may slide, and some people we may think go in top 10 who slide as well too. At this point, I don't even have Penei Sewell getting drafted yet. I actually have Jalen Waddle. I have Jalen Waddle. He's the, if you count Kyle Pitts, I mean, that's the 1, 2, 3. That's four receivers now in a row. Jalen Waddle, he's really freaking good. He's very fast, excellent compliment. And you make a good point, because I mean, some could take and say that quarterback, what was his name again, from North Dakota State, who you had
Trey Lance.
Yeah, Trey Lance. Some would make the argument that Trey Lance may even slide to Detroit. I even struggle with that as well too, because is Goff really your guy? You know what I mean? They didn't seem too sold on him, but you also lost 2 big receivers. So quarterback, 2 receivers, which one? Ultimately, I think Jalen Waddle. I could definitely see him in the blue and silver for sure.
Wow, Jalen Waddle, number 7. I think
it's just early. A lot of mock drafts have him going 15 or.
That's what I feel. First. I was like, maybe around like the range of 10 to 20, but top 10. Interesting, Doug. Interesting.
He's good, man. I like Jalen Waddle, man. He's dope, man.
He's not a bad player here. He's not like he's like a round 5 player. He's a round 1 type of player, especially the speed he has. So I'm not disagreeing there, because I think the wide receiver position needs to be addressed in Detroit in the first round, and then they can address that in the next rounds for linebacker issues and O-line. So I agree with you there. I can see that. But now the Panthers So the Panthers at number 8, I think they need to protect Sam Darnold. So I think they need to get an offensive line. This will be the second offensive line out of the draft. Rashawn Slater from Northwestern. I feel that's going to be a great protection for Sam Darnold. You remember how Sam Darnold was with the Jets. He needed protection. And I think Carolina, especially last season, they want to protect Sam Darnold, and they're going to have Christian McCaffrey back. So you want to have some type of run game as well once Christian McCaffrey comes back healthy. With the additional pieces you just got in free agency, I think you need to address the O-line just to protect Sam Darnold and get that running game going for Christian McCaffrey. So I think Rashawn Slater will be the best second opportunity for Carolina to come back in that division, especially since right now Tampa owns the division now, since the Saints lost their quarterback there, and then you still got the Atlanta Falcons lingering there still. But just trying to get back into the division, that's who Carolina should go for. An offensive line, Rashawn Slater from Northwestern.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Carolina's gonna be in a very interesting spot, because they have a chance. I'm not gonna say they're gonna win the division. I don't see them knocking off the Buccaneers, but I do see them maybe even upsetting the Buccaneers at least one of the games of the year. I don't see them getting swept. I do see them possibly coming in second place, maybe even for a wild card, perhaps. I will say NFC is just nowhere near as competitive as the AFC at this present time. But that's besides the point. Answer your question. I'm just like you, man. Obviously, you have Penei Sewell going earlier. I have Penei Sewell sliding all the way down to number 8 for the Carolina Panthers. So his slide takes and stops. And again, Penei Sewell's one of those guys could go number 1 overall. I don't see it happening. I could see him on the Jets, beef up that O-line. I could see him going pretty much every single team on this list, Jaguars, Jets, Bengals, Dolphins, but I just feel like, based off team need, it's really tough to gauge, as we're not in those war rooms, but I could see him definitely lining up over in Carolina all day.
Wow. Okay. So you got Penny Sewell going all the way to number 8. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Which I agree. We both agree that they desperately need O-line to protect Sam Darnold and get that run game going for Christian McCaffrey, because he was unhealthy last year. He was with injuries last year. He only played maybe like a few games, so definitely a great upgrade for Carolina in that position right there.
Yes, sir.
So number 9 now. So going right back to the Atlanta trade with Denver. So now Atlanta has a clock on number 9, and I feel they're going to steal a cornerback that Dallas was going to get in this year's draft. A lot of people are saying that they may get Patrick Surtain II. I think Atlanta will steal that pick to get Patrick Surtain II from Alabama. This man could help improve Atlanta's defense tremendously, and it doesn't look fishy when they select them at number 4. That's why I felt that trade will be necessary for them to go down some. And just before the Cowboys, I feel the Cowboys would get Patrick Surtain II. Both teams, of course, struggle on defense on both sides, but I feel this will definitely help the Falcons, especially if they want to get a last push with Matt Ryan in that division, especially when you have to play Tom Brady twice a year, and Sam Darnold twice a year, or Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston twice a year in that division. So I think Patrick Surtain II is going to be a great addition for Atlanta, and to steal that off from the Cowboys.
Ooh, I love it. Yeah, and people don't realize, you come on all the mock drafts in the world, there's still going to be trades. So, people don't realize there's still going to be trades. So, yeah, man, that would, and that's a good prediction, E, because, I mean, I could definitely see those teams making that jump without a doubt, For me, so as y'all know, I still have Denver Broncos still sitting there at 9. I have them picking up Trey Lance, man. I feel like this is, you mentioned it earlier that they're maybe not sold on Drew Lock. Now, Drew Lock was banged up, so in his defense, but the NFL is becoming more impatient by the day. It's becoming more talented by the day. It's becoming more prospects by the day. It's becoming more competitive by the day. This isn't 1992 where you get drafted and then, you could be sitting in your position sucking for 3-4 years before they finally decide to cut you. Well, John Elway, when he came in the league, he wasn't all that great. You know what I mean? He made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't until his, I think, 3rd or 4th year he started to get popping, right? That's just an example right there. But I do believe they're probably going to possibly move on from, or at least get him some competition, put a fire underneath his butt, and let the best man win. Let's see how training camp takes and plays out, But yeah, Trey Lance, I have him going to number 9. But if in the event 49ers pick him, then I'd put the kid from Ohio State there. But I think Trey Lance is going to be one to slide just because he didn't opt out, but he only played that one game versus Central Arkansas, in which he threw his first interception. So, but yeah, Trey Lance, number 9. So I got it.
I wouldn't mind that, but I don't know how Trey Lance will go all the way down to 9. That's going to be very interesting if Trey Lance goes all the way down to 9. If Denver can manage to get a quarterback at number 9 without having to trade up, that would be the greatest thing for them, because a lot of people are going to be calling those trades for number 5, number 6, number 7. And one of our division rivals, Patriots, will try to get up there to get a quarterback, because Cam Newton's not the answer. They desperately need a quarterback there. So it's going to be very interesting. Especially when Drew Lock had a lot of expectation after his first year. His first year looked pretty impressively, and then the second year looked like a slump year. So it was like, I think this is probably you better do something this year, or we're really going to replace you if they don't select a quarterback. But if they select a quarterback, that means they might get rid of him after that. So it's going to be very interesting once draft day comes on this Thursday.
Absolutely.
But our final one for today, Doug, the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, who they say they will go to the Super Bowl every year to annoy the heck out of us. Just being honest, but I always love the Cowboys fans. But anyways, going back to my point. So like I said, Atlanta's going to take away Patrick Surtain II away from the Cowboys and Jerry Jones, even though Jerry Jones would love to get Kyle Pitts if he was at number 10, but that's not happening. So I'm going to go with another corner that's the second best corner in this year's draft. I'm going to go with Jace Horn from South Carolina at corner. And once again, I think that's going to be definitely going to help the Cowboys positions, especially since last year they were getting ran all over. Kyle Murray, if you remember that Monday Night Football game, running all over that team, and Dallas looked depleted. And then they desperately need coverage, because they paid the man Dak, they paid the lineman, they paid Zeke, they paid Amari Cooper, they pay everybody, but it's like, what happened on the defense? Oh, we can replace that. We get that in free agency. Nah, I don't think that should be the concern for the Cowboys to look at in free agency. I think they got to address it in the draft this year. I understand Kyle Pitts will sell a lot in Dallas and then bring everybody back into the stadium, but I think Horn will be the best option for the Cowboys to select if they want to get their defense to pick it up the pace a little bit improvement than last year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, it's and a fun fact about J.C. Horn. He is the son of legendary wide receiver from the Saints, and also towards the end of his career played for the Atlanta Falcons, Joe Horn. So huge fan, huge Joe Horn fan. So I know this guy is coming from a good home, good head on his shoulders. I know we're only doing top 10, but actually it's funny. I had J.C. Horn going to number 12, the Eagles, but we're only doing top 10 today. But I actually have a number 10. You and I were very similar. I like how you think, man. I have Patrick Surtain second. His father was a Miami Dolphin. I have him actually landing on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Dallas Cowboys, you mentioned it, you know, they're fan. Every year is the year. Every year is the year for the Dallas Cowboys. Every year is the year. You know, this is the year that we get it right. Look, man, you overpaying for a quarterback who hasn't won you a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott's dope, deserve to get paid, don't get me wrong, but you have so many gaps on that team. You know, the receiver core is dope. So, I mean, at this point, it's just, you know, that this whole draft, they should be beefing up their defense and add at least 2 O-linemen. If you know, if I'm a Cowboys fan and I'm one who's in charge, that's the way I'm going. But with Patrick Surtain, man, you cannot pass that kind of talent up. The guy can hit. He can take and guard you really good. I mean, I saw him on oh Lord, what was it? I think Stephen A. Smith, him and Max Kellerman were talking, and he said he would love to take in guard Julio Jones. He would love to. I'm like, man, just that type of confidence and that hunger, man. I love that, man. And he's meek. For those who don't know what meek means, it's like quiet strength. You know what I mean? So he's very, very meek in how he carries himself, man. I love it. And I think he would be a major, major commodity for the Dallas Cowboys and bring a lot of problems to the NFC East for sure.
Yes, sir. And you know, it's a very interesting point. When I look back at our mock draft for the top 10, we don't have Mac Jones in the top 10. I noticed that. We don't have Mac Jones. A lot of people would say that Mac Jones may go to the 49ers at number 3.
Hey, you know why? So initially I had Mac Jones, not to interrupt. I had him going number 3 to the 49ers. There's a video, and I encourage everybody to watch this. Just Google Mac Jones Pro Day 49ers reaction. Oh, dude, he was overthrowing people by 10 yards. It was really bad, man. And he's a really good quarterback, but you know, you look at Peyton Manning's pro day, it didn't look good at all. But then he went on to be, you know, top 10 greatest quarterback of all time. You know what I'm saying? So pro days only go so far. You know, Teddy Bridgewater, he didn't even participate in a lot of stuff his pro day. You know what I mean? Because he was going to be compared to Luck, and he probably would have slid outside the first round. You know what I mean? The pro day is it's a strategic move. But nonetheless, he overthrew the wide open, not even a defender on a receiver. So yeah, that's why I don't have him. I do have him in the first round, going to the Patriots eventually, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and one more thing before I end the show here. I actually had Devontae Smith going to the Eagles, by the way. I think Devontae Smith will be the Eagles, especially this. We're going to need wide receivers over there. Yeah. Just throwing it out there. I know it's not the top 10, but I just want to throw it out there. Honorable mentions.
Yeah, right yeah. Hey, real quick, let me ask you a question. Number 18, Miami Dolphins. Who they getting?
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot there.
I'll go first. I have Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher. He played linebacker. He played D end from the University of Georgia Bulldogs. Now, there's a lot of other guys. There's Gregory Rousseau from the University of Miami. There's Jalen Phillips, also from the University of Miami. There's even Cam Basham, who's another guy really freaking good. But in my humble opinion, he's the best edge rusher, man. That dude, he could beat you inside, outside, get right up in you, man, push you back. And he gets turnovers. We all know how much Coach Flo loves getting the ball back on defense. I got Azeez Ojulari coming to the Miami Dolphins.
All right. I think we can pick a running back right there. Najee Harris. I know it's probably going to be a too high of a pick, but I think Najee Harris is going to help us with the running game. I understand we got a couple, like Malcolm Brown we added in free agency. We had, of course, we still have the same Myles Gaskin from last season, but I think there'll be a huge upgrade for the running back position. I know we need defensive ends, which I love Gregory from the University of Miami. If we didn't pick Najee Harris, I would love to see us get Gregory from the University of Miami. I've seen him play, especially I'm a Hurricanes fan. I've seen him play in the edge, and he's pretty good. He's a good pass rusher. So, but at the end of the day, I will still believe in Najee Harris going to Miami at number 18.
Love it. I love it, man.
But Doug, once again, appreciate you coming onto the show, doing the mock draft top 10, man. I really appreciate it.
No doubt, man. Thank you so much for having me on, man. Definitely got to get you back on the Touchdown with Doug Smith for sure. And for those who want to take a subscribe, man, link will be down below in the description. The show's called The Touchdown with Doug Smith. Much like E Show, man, him and I work together. We got a little group called the Hustle Group. So we all give each other tips and whatnot, man. It's my dog. Super happy to be on your show. But check me out, man. I do NFL interviews. I got a few NFL draft prospects on there as well, too. Get to know the man behind the helmet. And then, of course, I do a lot of NFL analysis, mock drafts, predictions, different stuff like that, covering the news and whatnot. So unbiasedly, at least I pride myself on that. So E, thanks for having me on, man.
Of course, Doug, of course. Thank you guys for listening to E on the Mic, episode 27. I'm your host, E, and I'll see you next time on episode 28 when we review the draft. Until then.
Y'all go subscribe to E's channel. Don't even worry about me. Handle your business here first. Then you can come to me, all right?
Will do. Until then, see you then.